today. Well, first of all, let me point out something here. Obviously, this, wherever it is not RPG Maker gameplay. Not drunk? There's a reason for that. Also, the next RPG Maker dev video is being worked on, question mark. I did a lot of stuff for that while I was on vacation, so it'll be a little bit, but it is coming. Don't worry. I'm going to make another dev video for Synapse Fade. So that'll be coming soon, hopefully by the end of this week or by the end of the weekend. Now, what I wanted to talk to you about today was a pitch for something that I'm sure has already been created, but not in the way maybe that I'm envisioning, or maybe I'm just not aware of it. I don't know. But today I want to pitch to you basically this game that's being played in the background, Risk of Rain 2, but in a turn-based RPG format made in RPG Maker. Now, Risk of Rain is a roguelike, hold on, let me Google it. Roguelike. Okay, Risk of Rain 2 is a roguelike, apparently, according to Google. What I want to do is basically make an RPG Maker game where you start off with, maybe you start with like 3 classes to choose from, right? You have your basic warrior, magician, thief. You know, let's just say that. It might not be that, who knows, whatever. You start off with those 3 classes, and you start off in a random biome. This is basically like an endless dungeon. Imagine it as an endless dungeon, or maybe there is an end point, but it's very difficult to get there. So you start off with a few characters to choose from. You would unlock characters as you play, and we'll get into that a little bit more later. I want to go through basically what like a general gameplay loop would be. It pops up to the character screen. You choose your 3 characters. Maybe you choose a passive ability that increases your max health each floor, right? Maybe you get an additional 200 health per each floor, or maybe you get something that increases your chance at better, like slightly increases your chance at better loot. Or, you know, maybe if you choose the thief has a special ability where he can lockpick locked chests, which offer really good loot. Something along those lines. You would start on one random floor, with your chosen class, and your starting location would be like a random place throughout the floor. Now, in order to make it truly random, I would have to install a plugin. And you guys know how I feel. I think you are much more creative when you don't use plugins, at least for me. You've seen a little bit of that in the RPG Maker dev diaries I've been doing. Basically what I would do is make giant biomes, right? Like giant floors, and your starting place would be completely random on that floor, and which floor you start on would be completely random. So for instance, maybe in this first run, you start off in the ice biome, and you start off in, you know, the top left. And your next run, you would start in the fire biome, maybe in the bottom right, that kind of thing. Now, as far as the encounters go, we could do this one of 2 ways. We could do completely random encounters, like a traditional turn-based RPG, which in my mind kind of get monotonous over time, right? Maybe we could add an item that would make your characters auto battle. Maybe it's a trade-off, right? Like, or maybe that's a permanent unlock where, you know, you get to a certain floor, you've now unlocked the ability to auto battle, and you can turn it off and on at your discretion. We could also have visual encounters. Visual encounters would be where you see, perhaps, I've used this in my current RPG Maker game, like a little wisp, like I don't know why I'm doing this, like this is gonna help you imagine what it is. But it's like a little ball of fire that moves around, right? And we could take that, we could make it different colors to indicate the strength of the encounter, so you could choose whether or not you wanted to face it. Obviously, you're gonna have to do some random encounters because you're gonna have to fight a boss at the end of each floor. When you defeat these bosses, they would unlock a new party member and a ton of loot, right? Now, what I say by party member is every time you do the first floor, no matter what floor you start out on, after you beat the first floor, you would unlock the healer. The second floor would unlock the, you know, I don't know, summoner. Now, let's say you're on your, you know, second run, and you've already beaten the first floor, and you've already unlocked the healer. Well, now you would basically choose your second party member from a, you know, maybe a randomly selected 2 or whatever, you know, maybe there's something that determines that later on. I think it would be really cool to have something like that because it would make your run different each time. Maybe one time you start out with the healer and the second character you get is the mage and you work on a magic build, right? And you just happen to get biome after biome that are magic biomes where, you know, you really excel, right? And then you can start picking up physical characters like a warrior or a barbarian, you know, something like that. Now, some of the things on each floor that would be randomized is maybe you open a chest and you unlock a skill. You get a skill out of that chest. Or maybe you get a permanent stat boost out of the chest. You get healing items out of the chest. And maybe you get better items the further up in floors you get, but the encounters also get harder. You know, you unlock super strong weapons. Maybe you find special bosses that offer you the ability to get another party member earlier than the boss of that floor. Passive skills, I think, is what really makes roguelikes, I'm never gonna get that right, roguelikes interesting, where you know, let's say you start out with the thief, you get a lock picking skill right off the bat. First floor, you unlock this chest, you get the third strongest or the second strongest weapon for the thief in the game, right? And now you're just slaying enemies. You know, you destroy the first boss, you get more party members and stuff, and each floor you go through, your lockpicking skill gets better. You use however we determine what skill points are. Maybe it's how many levels you grew during that floor or something. You know, I'm just spitballing stuff here, but you kind of get what I'm going with. Basically, my pitch is to have a game that you're seeing in the background right now, Risk of Rain 2 or Dead Cells or any, you know, maybe Hades, like any of those roguelike games, but in a turn-based RPG format, which I think would be really, really cool. It would be very difficult to code, but without having to, let me rephrase it. It would be difficult to code through events, but without having to focus on a story necessarily. It's, you know, at least right now in my head, it's mostly gameplay. I feel like it would be relatively simple to do. With all that being said, this is just my pitch for the game. If you all would like to see that made on the YouTube channel, please let me know. Sorry again for the fact that the RPG Maker dev diaries take so long. They take a long time to edit. There's a lot of silence and stuff that's not really necessary to the video in there that needs to be edited out, and it takes a while to edit. I'm using a free tool called DaVinci Resolve. It doesn't have an automatic silence editor as far as I know, and most automatic silence editors, they make the video cuts look really weird. So I would rather not do that anyways. They just take a long time to edit. So I promise you another one's coming. But if you would like to see this game also being made, maybe in tandem, or maybe we switch to this for a little while and we go back and forth, something like that, please let me know in the comments. If you like this video, please give it a like, subscribe if you want more RPG Maker videos like this, dev diaries, shorts, anything like that. I'm also getting ready to play the new Star Ocean on stream today, so if you want to hang out, play some cool RPGs with us, head on over to twitch.tv/runthemc. Hit the follow button there. It'll notify you when I go live. Thank you all so much for watching. Bye.